What's up everybody, it is Speed here, and today we're going to be looking at Resolution's Pudge. Pudge is one of the most dominant pub heroes right now, sitting at a 54% win rate according to the Dota buff. So I want to talk about why this hero is so good and how you should exactly play him.
The offlane is no place for the weak, and this is why at gameleap.com we have hundreds of pro guides covering the most powerful offlane heroes so you can start carrying your games from Dota's most notoriously tough lane. To master the tricks of the pros, check out the discount link in the description of this video and start dominating your games from the offlane role immediately.
So what's important to note about Pudge is that he's a zero armor hero. That's very, very important. And it's a key part of this hero, understanding the fact that you have high regen when you take your Flesh Heap, as Flesh Heap gives you 6 base regen, but because of your low armor, if you don't compensate, you will take a lot of harass. So the first thing he does is he actually starts with a Ring of Protection to deal with the high right click lane of Ogre Magi plus Faceless Void. Moving on from there, you're going to notice he's holding his skill point. There's a high chance you typically want to take Flesh Heap as he skills it now in case he starts getting right clicked. But occasionally you can take Hook to secure a First Blood, but more often than not, you don't want to do that because it could, in the future, actually grief your ability to lane, right? Pudge needs to sustain. If you don't have the sustain on Pudge, you will get bullied out of the lane, for sure. In addition, it's very important that you rush Quelling Blade as your first item. You have to get last hits as Pudge. I see a lot of players playing Pudge incorrectly. Let me make your life very simple right now. When you're playing Pudge, play for CS. You should play for your next item. Do not play to simply just kill your enemy. Otherwise, you're not going to like this build and it's not going to work out. However, this is very strong, and I think this is the reason why this hero is so popular at the high levels. So the first thing to consider is how to harass with Rod. So when you have full HP, it's a good idea if any hero gets in melee range, especially if it's some like weak range hero, such as a CM, to just hit them a bit with Rot. Especially considering he has 5 tangos and absurd HP regen, it's very beneficial. Even though he's trading against an Ogre Magi, he can actually still win the trade because of, the innate ability of Flesh Heap. So yeah, basically every time you're at full HP, instead of trading mana to actually win the trade, you're trading HP. That's kind of Pudge's benefit in the laning stage. Now briefly, I want to show this very important clip, and I think it highlights the main way to look for kills within the laning stage early on as Pudge. Typically, you can't actually go on people because if you do, you're going to tank a creep wave, which is suboptimal. So instead, what happens here is they go on his Rubik, and this is his best time to actually look for a kill. He picks up boots at the side chop, which is a big deal, right? You need movement speed to actually secure kills as Pudge. And not only that, they'll be chasing his teammates, so he's going to get a lot of rot duration plus hits off, right? Pudge actually does a lot of damage with the right clicks. In addition, you might have thought that he should skill the rot here to guarantee the kill, but he actually takes another point in Flesh Heap, and this basically allows you to infinitely trade. It's quite a bit better. And yeah, this allows him to get a kill onto boostmmr.com on the Ogre Magi. And so yeah, if you're looking to get a kill like that on enemy Ogre Magi, what you should do is like the video. It's very important. If you do, you will get kills just like that one. Alright, that was awful. I'm sorry guys. I'm trying. I really am. But hopefully you can see the main pattern here. The benefit of Pudge is not landing hooks. Long over are the days of long-range hook Aether Lens Pudge. If I ever see another Aether Lens Pudge in a game, I'm going to blow your head off. I swear, if I see you in a pub and you go Aether Lens Pudge, I will call you out, find your address, and just, tell you that you're wrong. I probably won't actually do anything that bad, but I'm very serious. Don't go these mana items that play around hook. It's not the benefit of the hero. As you notice, the first item he buys is now another chainmail, right? In addition, with the Ring of Protection, he now has 6 armor, high HP regen, and is going to do a ton of damage. In addition, I hear he takes level 4 hook. It's typically more common to see people take a level 4 rod because it doubles in damage, but you can still make the argument that having the hook is quite good for, trading for kills. Next thing when you're in the offlane is make sure you're fighting the bounty runes with your teammates. You're going to notice that resolution shifts over here, and it's very important. You don't want to abandon your position 4 to trade with the position 5, so always be staring at the clock, because not only that, if you catch people out on Pudge, there's a very high chance you're going to get a kill, right? Look at them trying to hit him. Do you think a Pudge without these armor items can stand up to these right clicks? No chance, but you notice he's actually not taking that much damage from each right click. Only 40 there, and I don't think he got a stout proc. So really, it's very impressive how little damage he's taking, and with this level 4 hook, he's able to hit a god tier hook because he liked the video, which is another bad reference. but in general he's able to pick up a kill, and that is why it is super, super important to contest bounties. Second reason why it's important to contest bounties is, in addition, after you pick up the bounties, look how convenient this is. This is a very high MMR efficiency play. Gets the kill, gets the bounties, goes to the shrine, gets his phase boots, buys another set of tangos to guarantee that he can continue fighting in the lane, and he's back to brawling. So at this point in the match, he also picks up a stick and a cloak, and the importance of the cloak is so that you can spam the rod and actually farm. Once you have this item timing with the cloak around the 7 to 8 minute mark, he is having a very good game with 2 kills and high CS, but whenever you get the cloak in level 6, you can typically start taking jungle camps if you really want to. You notice he's going to scout out this centaur and start chopping it down. You don't take too much damage from rot to your cloak, and because you have 2 points in flesh heap, you can actually sustain this. And yeah, you notice he's kind of getting pressured out of lane here. If we go back 10 seconds, you're going to notice he's getting run at. He doesn't want to get beat down by an Ogre Faceless Void lane. This lane's obnoxious. It's super hard to deal with. So instead of even dealing with the potential chrono, he's just going to go jungle. And this is one of the main benefits of Pudge. Even if your lane kind of goes kind of meh, if you get off to at least a decent start using the tips that I've given you of just, taking Flesh Heap and buying these armor items, you will get to this timing where you can jungle. And now his tangos come into play where he's going to actually be able to live, as well as now eat the Ogre Magi, which gives him even more HP. Now continuing on here, he's going to be making his first rotation at the 9 minute mark. Now why is this potentially a legitimate rotation? Well, the first thing I want to point out is that he has phase boots. The phase boots are very, very important because they're the item that actually allows you to close the gap, and he hits a big hook here onto the Mirana, allowing him to get the kill. In addition, I want to point out that he has maxed out Rot after the 2 points in Flesh Heap and 1 in Hook, and this is most likely the best build in the majority of games because it amplifies your damage, amplifies your farm, it kind of does everything you want on Pudge. But remember, do not go gank heavy on Pudge. If there's one thing that you need to focus on Pudge, it is continue scaling. This hero scales unbelievably well. In fact, I think it's one of the best scaling offlaners in the game right now, and that's part of the reason why it's so good in pubs. So you notice he's cutting the creep wave here, which is fantastic because it's with the cart wave, meaning that the tower will now get pushed, and overall he's keeping his CS up. 62 at the 10:45 minute mark, as well as 3 kills. This is a fantastic showing right now, and a lot of it comes down to his item decisions and skill build. Now, next up coming here, we have a very interesting play after he takes this small camp stack, which is once again convenient, but he's going to TP top, and you might be like, well, why would you TP top? You can't kill Mirana or Void, right? Both of these heroes can get out of dismember range. Well, even if you dismember them, they'll get away at the end, right? Even if you got that dismember off, it wouldn't have killed her. But what is he actually doing here? Well, he's actually just defending the tower. You notice he's baiting out the arrow, kind of messing with them. This is a bit dangerous, of course, but in general, he doesn't want to let his tier 1 fall if he doesn't have to. And that's exactly what happens. They're able to defend up the tower, get the cart wave off of it, and stall out the game. Now, Pudge is very good at this. You're super good at defending towers, because if the enemy ever overcommits, what ends up happening is that you can land a fat hook and get a kill. And upcoming here, we're going to see the pure strength of this build. I mean, do you think he lives with any other item build, right? This Hooded Defiance plus the armor items with the phase boots and the ringer protection is solely the reason why he lived. Also, that little magic stick is another reason why he lived, right? And then he gets salved and Oracle ultied, hits another fat hook onto the Mirana, and he's popping off. And yeah, I think he understands his spikes very effectively. He's kiting in and out of the fight, not getting too deep, and going on whoever he can. But that was beautiful play, so I recommend, if you're unsure of what he did there, rewatch it and really try to break it down for yourself, because there's a lot to learn from that. And now the next item he'll be buying is a Vanguard. This combination of Hooded Defiance plus Vanguard makes you one of the tankiest boys in all of Dota history, right? You can notice he does even have the option to walk in here if he wanted to, and might not even die. It's that crazy. But in general, you want to be buying aura items for your team and just defensive items for yourself, because Pudge innately does damage. As long as you're alive, Rot is damage. There's really like no other spells that match the pure just overall damage of Rot, considering it never actually runs out as long as you're alive. Another reason why I like his item build a lot this game is I think it covers the general bases of Dota. I mean, obviously, Vanguard plus Pipe, it covers, the bases of Dota, which is magical and physical damage, but the enemy team has a Tinker and a Mirana, which is very important to note. Both of these heroes do AoE magical damage, so Pipe is particularly good, while they only really have one main source of physical damage in the Faceless Void, so I like his decision to go the Pipe over the Crimson Guard first. But you notice in his downtime, what's important, guys, okay, there's no kills to get, he's unsure of where the enemy team is, he doesn't have to force things, his team is ahead, right? They could continue running at the enemy, they might win the fights, but what does he do instead? He goes and pushes in in some creep waves. The reason why you're probably having issues scaling and playing like this in Pudge is you're running around going for too many kills. You notice, now they pop a smoke, but what did he do before the smoke gank? He pushed in a wave, and now if they look for a kill, it'll be a lot more worth their time. Next up in this fight, I want to talk about camera movement, guys. Camera movement is one of the most fundamental parts of good Pudge play. Because in this fight here, do you see Pudge? Do you see Pudge? I don't see Pudge. I don't see Pudge. But this is his camera. Now you see it, he moves it back a little bit, but constantly. Is there any wasted space here? No, he doesn't need to see this bounty rune, really, right? So his camera is forward, so I really like what he's doing here. He's constantly moving his camera up, which allows him to see this Tinker and hit a fat hook onto the Tinker, which is obviously the most important target for this fight. He identified that, and with good camera movement is able to find the Tinker, allowing him to get a kill. The Faceless Void Chrono was obviously not optimal, but in general, right, that hook sets up for an amazing fight. Now he can chase down this Faceless Void, at least to the best of his ability. It's just a good fight at this point, right? Next up, I want to talk about his talents, because I think a lot of players would potentially disagree with these talents, but I'm personally a big fan, and I think they're very underrated. At level 10, he takes a 35 rot damage, and I prefer this because his build doesn't necessarily give him damage, right? There's no Atos to set up for hook, there's no Ags, right? There's no Radiance. So you take the rot damage, and as long as you're alive, you do a ton more damage, right? 35 is a level and a bit more of damage for rot. It's quite a big deal and quite a big spike at level 10. And then at level 15, he takes the very interesting minus 20% rot slow, which puts the slow up to 52%. And 52% is a much higher number than 32%. It actually gets to the point where you can genuinely auto-attack people without losing the rot radius on them. So I'm a big fan of this talent. I think it's super underrated and that the spell lifesteal is a bit overrated, and I would consider taking it in your next game because you notice he goes on the Ogre Magi here, and sure, he gets bursted, but the rot slow would have been really cool. Woohoo! Okay, that's kind of a bad blink by Tinker, but still, look at the hook! Yeah. So now we're much later into the game. I want to skip ahead and just talk more about late game fights. This is 56 minutes into the game. This game ends up going an hour and 20 minutes, so I can't show the full thing. Otherwise, I think you just want to rip your head off. But at this point in the game, I want to quickly talk about his talents. He's taken the 15% cooldown reduction, which is just good for more hooks, more dismembers, and you can use your items more as it works on items as well. And then the +2 Flesh Heap stack strength. In addition, he has a Blink Dagger, a Blade Mail, and a Heart, and this is kind of just the general build you want to deal damage as Pudge. Now, there's other items you could buy like Radiance, Ethereal Blade, Shivas, that are all quite good, but I think overall this defensive build that just plays around the rot talents are quite nice. Now coming up here when you're defining a high ground, even if you're in a man disadvantage, it's typically a good idea to hook people under tower, strictly for the fact that it puts them in a position where they have to overextend, and that's exactly what happened, right? They get the hook onto Mirana, which gets the kill, which creates a situation where the Ogre Magi is overextending, then he ends up finding this Omni Knight. Of course, then the Tinker TP's in to kind of help out, but naturally that doesn't work out too well for him as he hunts the Rubik kill. And this is where the Rot Slow comes into play, right? When he's hunting him down here, if he doesn't have the Rot Slow, the Tinker might get away here, but 52% is just way too much to get away from, right? He can't even move. Even when the Pudge is hexed, he literally can't get away. It's that good of a talent, in my opinion. And he's just going to continue chasing in here. Go for the rot on the Omni Knight, who apparently has a BKB for whatever reason. And yeah, that's kind of the main gist of defending high ground as Pudge. You want to get a hook onto the key targets to bait people in, and then once you do, you can chase forward and secure all the key kills. Quick little clip here on why Pudge is a Faceless Void counter. Quick hook out of the chrono, and yes, your hero is very good against Void for that one reason. Alright, so we are 74 minutes into the game. Resolution's team is 50k behind. The Void literally has 50,000 net worth. I don't know how this game is even slightly winnable, but the first thing to note is that the Oracle makes a really nice blink play out of the chrono. Just kind of want to show that off. And Resolution is happy to tank this Void Chronosphere. I mean, you can just see how tanky his hero is. In addition, just to talk briefly about item swaps, he also has an Assault Cuirass and is going for an Ethereal Blade. But the first thing he's going to do is actually target the Omni Knight. Why is this important? Well, Omni Knight is the hero that's going to save other heroes from his dismember and such, right? So he goes on the Omni Knight to prevent that from happening. Then they pursue forward, and it's all of a sudden a good fight. So even if you're 50k behind, if it's 74 minutes in, I guess it really doesn't matter. And then moving on to here, I just want to show like perfect execution on the kill. So he currently knows that the Void does not have BKB, right? He's aware of this because the Void popped that BKB in the bottom fight, right? So he doesn't have to instantly dismember. So he uses it like slightly late to the point where a BKB Void probably would have gotten it off, but he gets max duration dismember off at the perfect time. Void then gets hit by a torrent, then by a lift, and gets the final hook to secure it all off, preventing the cast animation of the time walk. Absolutely perfect play, and that's what it takes to secure kills on Pudge, especially later into the game. Just without heart, he has 69 regen. With heart, he has 600. Oh my god, this hero's insane late game. In addition, now he gets this Aghanim's Blessing from the Roshan, another thing that makes Pudge a dominant late game force. You don't actually have to buy an Ags and keep it in your inventory. You can just get the Blessing, even if you were just to buy it for yourself. And coming up here is the reason why we all love Pudge. We see the game-ending hook coming out from Resolution. He sees the Void in vision, and he's tracking him. In his head right now, he's like, I know where Void's walking. You can even drag your cursor to follow it. That's something I do a bit. I'll put it on and try to follow their movement speed, and he hits a really nice hook onto the Void, and the Void does get Heavenly Grace, but a really nice follow-up torrent, plus the Ag's ulti from Sniper is going to pick up the kill, and basically guarantee them the win, as now the Ogre Magi has died, Void is bought back, also Omni Knight is bought back, and now he can get in there and simply take the Megas. Or, he can just get chronoed and basically not die, right? Like, literally, you just can't die. You have to be completely isolated, or it's, like, almost impossible. And sure, he has an Oracle ulti, but in general, this hero is just nasty late game, and it's the reason why I think you should give him a try. And finally here, they're going to, be bringing the Mango delivery service, as he has gotten X'd back by Kunkka to get more mana. And we'll see how he ends off this game. Even though they were 25k net worth behind, he's able to just walk in and literally care zero. He cares zero. And they find the Tinker. They get the Tinker kill. That's no buyback. That's going to be the end of the game. It's all over for the Radiant. And yeah, Pudge Dota, guys. This hero is very legitimate. It's one of the strongest pub heroes in the game. He says Raffle. That was quite a hilarious game. I recommend you check it out on Dota 2 Pro Tracker. You could just type in Pudge. You'll see Resolution. Fantastic game here. Really, best of luck with Pudge in your games. I think as long as you copy the idea of taking points in Flesh Heap early, maxing out your Rotten Flesh Heap, taking the talents that I recommended, and building these armor, tanky, like Hooded Defiance, Crimson items, you'll notice that you're super hard to kill and deal a ton of damage. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please do like, subscribe to the channel to help us grow. We are close to 150,000 subscribers, and I genuinely appreciate it. Peace.
Are you tired of being hard stuck at your rank? Over at gameleap.com, we have a library of hundreds of guides authored by pro players and coaches covering literally every aspect of Dota. Whether you're looking to master a new hero or role, or just polish up your existing skills, GameLeap is the proven place for competitive gamers to hone their craft and unlock their secret potential. Hit the link on screen right now, to take advantage of our special offer for a 25% discount, guys. 25%, and start your journey today.